This is Nigeria. A country with deep cultural values, breathtaking beauty, and a people with potentials that continue to amaze the world. At the peak of her glory, Nigeria stood as a giant in Africa.
And they did in the most striking fashion. Rashidi Yekini opened their account with a memorable goal against Bulgaria.
Ruling in sports, leading in politics, #1 in military strength and intelligence. Nigerians were happy and proud of the motherland. Then things became different. The once great nation became crippled. The leaders got things wrong. Corruption took its toll, and the people wept for a once beloved country.
This is the first time an opposition candidate has beaten an incumbent in Nigeria.
On the 28th of March 2015, things changed as Nigerians made a choice. They chose retired General Muhammadu Buhari, a disciplinarian and a man of honor, to restore the dream and bring back the Nigeria that would once again stand tall amongst nations. Nigerians wanted change, and change they got in President Muhammadu Buhari.
Fellow Nigerians, as the presidential campaign draws to a close, my interactions with Nigerians from all over the country over the last few months have left with me an overwhelming sense of the expectations the citizens of Nigeria hold for the future.
President Buhari was elected on the strength of his promise to revive and restore the economy, fight corruption, and secure Nigeria from terrorism and other forms of insecurity. It is to be noted that as at the 29th of May 2015, when Buhari was sworn in, Nigeria was already on the verge of a recession, and the federal government was borrowing to fund recurrent expenditure despite years of surplus income from oil sales. As the nation celebrates a prudent government at 2, it is glaring that the president is committed to the promise he made to the Nigerian people.
Buhari administration will long be remembered for many good things. One of the things that it has done is to make electoral promises matter. And that's very important.
I think the NCBSG and our affiliate groups have known Buhari for a very long time, and they are committed to his successors. Therefore, we think it is absolutely necessary to document the achievements he has made for posterity, for history.
Upon assumption of office, the Buhari-led administration recognized the need for immediate renewal of bilateral relationships with foreign partners to prepare the ground for the revamping of the economy, as well as garner support to combat the Boko Haram insurgency. This led to strategically mapped out travel plan for President Buhari and his team for the first few months in office. Today, Nigeria, under President Buhari's leadership, has been able to re-establish its position and influence in the regional and global arena. Also, fragile relations with the United States, United Kingdom, South Africa, and with neighboring countries, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, has been reviewed and strengthened since June 2015. The administration won the hearts of many Nigerians when it blocked leakages within the revenue-generating agencies through the expanded implementation of the Treasury Single Account (TSA), providing greater visibility and accountability of government revenues and cash flows. As at the end of March of 2017, over 7 trillion naira had flowed into the TSA.
Well, the TSA again is a policy that, the President, I think, personally directed should be made compulsory for all the agencies, and that's been very useful to us as well, because what it's allowed us to do is to see the revenues of our agencies. It's allowed us to see all our money. In the past, they had thousands of bank accounts. You couldn't see the money of government. It was very easy for someone to siphon money because you don't know how many accounts you have.
Personnel costs, usually the bane of government's expenditure, also received immediate attention, and the Buhari-led administration scored another point when it gave priority to the deployment of Bank Verification Number (BVN) for payroll and pension audits. The use of the BVN thus eliminated grey areas in Nigeria's banking system and also provided a transparent basis for the implementation of the nation's novel social investment programs.
The BVN, as you know, is really about having data on who owns bank accounts. So we've used that data to clean our payroll. We're using that data to clean our pensions. We're using that data to just, from a tax perspective, to be able to see that, if one person has 8, 9, 10 accounts, how much money is going through those accounts and comparing it to their tax record. So BVN has been very, very useful to us.
With the drop in oil prices worldwide and the effect on the country's already mismanaged and dwindling economy, it became apparent that Nigeria must end its enormous dependence on oil. The agriculture and solid mineral sectors immediately became priority areas for the government in the context of a new National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, launched by the administration. The ERGP is the medium-term economic re-engineering and sustainable development platform for the period 2017 to 2020.
Even while we were said to be experiencing depression, which is a reflection of successive quarters of no growth, but yet agriculture was growing. We at some point it recorded 5.3% growth, even while other sectors of the economy are lagging. So that is an evidence that the agricultural policy is working.
We made some mistakes in the past, relying on food importation, relying on incomes from oil, and simply shipping all the money out to buy food. $22 billion a year importing food. The worst of which was rice, $5 million a day. And we're quite happy with ourselves.
In 2016, agriculture grew by 4.11%, while solid minerals recorded a 7% increase. The contribution of the Ministry of Solid Minerals to the Federation account also tripled to about 2 billion naira in 2016, up from 700 million in 2015. Nigeria's rice imports fell from 580,000 metric tons in 2015 to 58,000 metric tons in 2016. The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, a partnership with the government of Morocco for the supply of phosphate, was introduced. This resulted in the revitalization of 11 blending plants across the country and the production, so far, of 300,000 metric tons of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium NPK fertilizer.
Before we came, the dominant fertilizer was the NPK 15-15-15. 15 for urea, 15 for potassium, and 15 for phosphate. A very erroneous application of fertilizer. Since we did that soil map on a broad basis, we're still doing more. The yields of grains on the farm have gone from 2 tons on the average to 5.5. One farmer in Jigawa actually got 7.5 tons of rice per hectare.
Other benefits include annual savings of $200 million in foreign exchange and 60 billion naira annually in budgetary provisions for fertilizer subsidies. The scheme has also made it possible for farmers to purchase fertilizer at prices up to 30% cheaper than previously available. Today, rice production in Kebbi has hit 1 million tons, while Ebonyi, Jigawa, Sokoto, Niger and Cross River states are expected to hit 8 million tons to meet the federal government's projection of rice sufficiency by the end of 2018.
In Kebbi, for example, Labana Rice Mill expanded their rice mill. A new rice mill has been constructed by Wakot, 100,000 metric tons rice mill. A lot of small scale rice mills have been set up.
The government has made giant strides, particularly with the Anchor Borrower program. The Anchor Borrower program targets farmers and gives them loans on a single-digit basis for them to be able to, farm rice and supply that rice to the likes of the Olams of this world, the Wakots of this world.
As I speak to you, we have 200 rice mills ready for distribution. Some 50 tons a day, some 20 tons a day, some 10 tons a day, going to every part of the country where cooperatives and individuals are willing to buy. We're doing the same with cassava, with wheat, with melon, with sorghum, and with millet. In other words, in a short while, we shall achieve what we set out to achieve, self-sufficiency in the staples, and then turn to the export line.
In spite of low oil prices in oil and government revenues, Nigeria's external reserve has grown by $7 billion since October 2016. Also, the excess crude account saw an inflow of $87 million as at mid-2017, and the Sovereign Wealth Fund has grown by $250 million. In the area of business, the administration launched a series of funding and capacity development initiatives designed to support MSMEs across the country. One of these initiatives is the New Development Bank of Nigeria, DBN, which is taking off with initial funding of $1.3 billion to provide medium and long-term loans to MSMEs. Another initiative is the Ease of Doing Business Reform Program. With this reform, intending business owners can now search for company names on the website of the Corporate Affairs Commission, as well as upload their registration documents directly to the website of the CAC.
I think that the notion of making ease of doing business a critical factor in the strategy of this administration is good. Now let us see how effective it has been. Can you get your visas upon arrival in Nigeria? Yes. Is the airport friendly? No. It's the effort to make it better, right? Are the seaports friendly? No, it's still chaotic. But what are the steps that are being done, being executed to ensure that we achieve this objective? Single point of review in the ports of Nigeria. The head of the Ports Authority has just made this clear. The airports also, they've wiped out, taken away the custom guys from checking. I think that we have to wait for a few months. But if the question is the initiative worth the while? Yes. Has it achieved the desired objective? No. Will it take time? Yes. If we stay the course, we will get there.
In the past 2 years, the administration has demonstrated its single-minded commitment to upgrading and developing Nigeria's transport infrastructure. The government, unlike previous administrations, followed up on abandoned projects. Ministries were mandated to complete ongoing projects before new ones were awarded. Across the country, various road projects are going on simultaneously as the government, for the first time in its nation's history, released more than 1.2 trillion naira to fund capital projects in one financial year.
When I was appointed minister, the budget for roads in Nigeria was 18 billion. The budget for housing was 1.8 billion. And the budget for power was 5 billion. I don't know what you could do with that. The budget for roads for the entire country can't build one road. So that has changed. The budget has moved to 260 billion for roads. That's what President Buhari changed. It has moved to 90 billion for power and I think 60 billion for housing.
The administration completed the standard gauge Abuja-Kaduna rail line and is also pushing ahead with the revitalization of Nigeria's 3,500-kilometer network narrow gauge railway to ease the burden on Nigeria's roads and make them last longer. Funding arrangements have since been completed to construct new standard gauge lines from Kaduna, Kano, Lagos, Ibadan, Port Harcourt to Calabar. In addition, Abuja's light rail system is being completed and will go into test run operation in November 2017, preparatory to full commencement of operations in the first quarter of 2018.
The first thing we did was to assess what's the problem in the maritime sector. And that's ongoing up to now. We changed management of the Nigerian Ports Authority. We're kind of at a performance audit in the Nigerian Ports Authority, not in the maritime sector, to know what we're going to do to improve on the maritime sector. We believe that we can generate a lot of employment in that sector.
The Buhari administration is also remodernizing the nation's airports, including constructing additional terminals and runways as necessary. After successfully completing the reconstruction of the hitherto ill-maintained and badly damaged Abuja Airport runway within a scheduled 6-week period between March and April 2017. In the years under review, the government halted the attacks on pipelines in the Niger Delta region through constant dialogue.
This was not done in isolation. The Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the Amnesty Program, the Office of the Vice President, even the Presidency, all got involved at different levels, culminating in the establishment of an interministerial committee supervised by the acting president.
Acting President Osinbajo visited and still visits the oil-producing communities across the Niger Delta, listening to them and outlining the federal government's commitment to the peace, security, and development of the region as encapsulated in the Buhari administration's new vision for the Niger Delta.
Having the acting president go down to carry out visitation conveyed a sense of seriousness. And so I believe that people are giving us a chance. And we are promising not to disappoint and not to take that chance given us for granted.
The new vision offers a detailed response to the 16-point demand agenda submitted to President Buhari by the Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum, PANDEF, in November 2016. Tangible results of the new vision so far include approval of a 2017 commencement date for the stalled Nigerian Maritime University in Delta State, approval by President Buhari of an additional 35 billion naira into the 2016 budget of the Presidential Amnesty Program, approval of the establishment of modular refineries across the 9 states of the Niger Delta, resumption of construction work on abandoned projects across the Niger Delta, including the all-important East-West Road.
The administration has a commitment to the people of the Niger Delta region and Nigeria at large to make every Nigerian have access to whatsoever thing that is Nigeria. Education, commonwealth, peace, security, and every form of intervention. And you can see this demonstration in the social intervention programs of the government, spreading without any form of bias across the entire country.
A frugal and prudent man, President Muhammadu Buhari set up the Presidential Initiative on Continuous Audit (PICA) to strengthen controls over government's finances through a continuous internal audit process (PICA) across all ministries, departments, and agencies, particularly in respect of payroll. Through the activities of PICA, More than 50,000 erroneous payroll entries have been identified, with payroll savings of 198 billion naira achieved in 2016. Still on ensuring transparency, a presidential order was issued directing that all budgets of the government agencies be prepared in line with the International Public Sector Accounting Standard (IPSAS), using a zero-based budget template developed for that purpose.
And there was just a need to be able to manage money better, make our money go further, make sure that we're spending and getting value for money, making sure money is not leaking or money being wasted or money being stolen. And I think the civil servants have embraced the new era. I think as Nigerians have had to adjust, civil servants also have had to adjust. We've cut our costs. We brought in the efficiency unit, which is really around how the cost of government, making sure that government is run at the lowest cost.
A great achievement of this administration that has left Nigerians certain of its commitment to ending corruption is the new whistleblowing policy, which is one of the best policies in the fight against corruption and recovery of stolen funds.
Between 2006 and 2013, we have records to show that just 55 people allegedly stole 1.353 trillion naira. Now, to make Nigerians understand what that meant, we now said if only 1/3 of that looted fund was returned, what will it give us in terms of infrastructure? It will give us 600 kilometers of double carriage way, expressway, which would mean we'll be able to build 5 Lagos-Ibadan expressway. In addition, we'll be able to build 20,000 housing units, two-bedroom units. It will be enough also to provide an ultra-modern hospital for every state in Abuja, and there will still be enough money left to train 4,000 pupils from, from primary school to university level.
Happily, the president happens to get a peer in the vice president, and he's also committed in fighting corruption. You can never find the two of them involved or compromise their position. We want to be united. If there is one thing that will unite Nigerians, is in fighting corruption, because the unity of this country is being threatened. The survival of this country is being threatened. So we must work hard.
The new policy, within its first 2 months of operation, yielded $160 million and 8 billion naira in recoveries of stolen government funds.
This year alone, from January to today, 9th May, we have about 100 convictions in EFCC alone. That is a milestone. I don't think if there is only an agency that will boast of that, you can check it. We have 100 convictions in various cases all over the country.
In the area of security, the Buhari-led administration has performed tremendously well since it took over from the previous administration.
When we came in, we have only one intelligence unit to tackle kidnapping. But I'm talking to you now, we have improved it. We have 4. That is, we have installed another 3 additional equipment, 1 in Lagos, 1 in the southeast, that's in Owerri, and 1 in Port Harcourt. And with this capacity, I believe that we are now addressing this issue of in kidnapping. Presently, in each command, we have an anti-kidnapping unit that deals specifically to those challenges in the various states. And obviously, like you observe, we've got some units training of our men to enhance their capacity to deal with the investigation of kidnapping.
Under President Buhari's watch, the Nigerian military captured the Boko Haram's operational and spiritual headquarters, Camp Zero, in the Sambisa forest.
Within the first 2 years, I can boast of having bringing most of our security challenges to the barest minimum, especially when you talk of Northeast, whereby before the coming of this administration, almost over 65% of the states of Northeast are under siege by the insurgents.
The multinational Joint Task Force operations aimed at combating trans-border crime and the Boko Haram insurgency in the Lake Chad Basin area was empowered to do more. More than 12,000 Boko Haram hostages have been freed from Boko Haram captivity, including the 106 of the Chibok girls abducted in April 2014.
When this administration came in, the first places he visited were Niger, Chad, Cameroon and Benin, and these are contiguous neighbors where we had this problem of insurgents, and with the cooperation they've given us, we were able to transform it using the Lake Chad Basin Commission as a platform to come out to what we call multinational joint task force. This multinational joint task force have tremendously assisted in the fight against Boko Haram, especially in that region. And other regions are even copying from us how we are able to transform these armed forces into a unified command.
In achieving this, the Buhari administration mobilized international support for the war against Boko Haram, forging strong partnerships with key countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and Germany, ECOWAS, the AU, the UN, and others.
There's a renewed commitment to fight Boko Haram from the United States. They agreed to partner with us.
And after 2 years, it is safe to say that the Buhari-led administration, in spite of all inherited problems and challenges, has showed Nigerians and the world that no matter the hurdles, it will continue to do everything within its power to move Nigeria forward.
I would say hang in there. Nothing comes easy. We all want to be like America, obviously. America was not built overnight. It took a long time before it became what it is. If you look at France, the revolution, they went through at least many, many years of suffering before France became the France that we know. Nigeria is definitely destined to be among the very best.
Nigeria remains a strong nation. Our history makes us wiser. Our journey now can only lead us to a greater future. The labor of our heroes past shall not be in vain. Nigeria shall be great again.